And this Tawangkut is celebrated by different tribes within Kuki. Kuki here stands as a nation. So it's one of the nations. Under that nation, many tribes come. About 71 tribes come, in fact. So I think you have noticed in the paper and the program itself also, we have 71 Britain unite together, celebrate. We have the common sharing of this festival. And among them we are the Kuki. And the other cognate tribes such as Mizo, okay, Mizo, which belongs to Mizoram, and Chin, and which belongs to Myanmar. They are hugely populated in Myanmar. So this is also celebrated by the same Coptic tribe and Bom people. So Bom people are densely populated in Myanmar and also in Bangladesh. So they are part of the nation. So we all have the common sphere in this festival. And let's move to the next. In the olden days, the celebration of Tawangkut included many rituals and lasted for days, not only 1 or 2 days. Perhaps it would, they might have celebrated about a week, maybe 7 days, 4 days. We are not sure of the days, how long they did that, but it is celebrated for days. And in fact, the village priest would distribute rice beer. So rice beer is a kind of drinks, a traditional drinks which is made out of rice. So we ferment, actually they would ferment this rice and keep it for a month or a week in order to produce some fermentation. So this is how they used to drink. The priests of the village would distribute among the people, and after having done the distribution, and they would drink, and after the drinking is over, they would go for the celebration. Now people would dance, they keep sharing the joy, the happiness, the excitement, whatever they had. So this is how they celebrate in merry making. And they would enjoy this festivity. And along with that, they also had traditional sports. Okay, this is a time of sporting events also. So they would conduct a lot of traditional sports, which we don't, we hardly remember now. So several varieties of traditional sports are there. So we call it our language, tangkap, I don't know, pauchak, many things are there which I don't remember also. But this is how they celebrated. And however, with the coming of Christianity, somewhat the cultural practices or the traditional practices that we have are somehow declining. So, but although it is, it hardly come into practice, but we preserve it, we value it, and we preserve, retain the cultural, customary laws, all these things as a part of our culture. And one or two of the main festivals which we observe at present is, the first is Nimkut. Nimkut is one of the festivals. It is specially observed, celebrated in Nagaland. So it is recognized by the state government of the Nagaland, which we celebrate every year in the month of January 17th. So with all of our people in Nagaland would celebrate this festival as Nimkut festival. That is another festival. And now we have here is Tawangkut. So Tawangkut is one of the festivals which is celebrated widely around the globe, not only in Manipur, Nagaland, or elsewhere in Indian nation, but it is celebrated the Kuki people who live in America, no, United States, in England, Australia. So we are widely scattered around the globe. So people celebrate this festival in this day or today. So we really value it, we really preserve it, and we are adhered to this festival. So just a little bit of the significance. It's a time of post-harvesting celebration, because people in those days, our forefathers, they would work all through the year. So there are different kinds of cultivation. One is paddy field, which we now do this farming. That is another kind of cultivation. The other is agriculture. So we would deforest, we would cut the trees and forests. We deforest actually and put something, and out of that we bring all those seeds and the fruits, the products of those culture in cultivation, and we would celebrate on the last day. So it's a time of gathering all the products, and we would celebrate, and it's a time of enjoyment, it's a time of relaxation, it's a time of relief. So maybe it is a very short span of time that we would celebrate this. So that this is time when we gather all the products like grain, rice, whatever we have produced, we would accumulate, collect it, and we would enjoy it. And we would we would get prepared for the next cultivation. This is how it goes in relation to the festival. Now, in the present context, food has now become an institutionalized symbolizing unity. So, in spite of the diverse cultures, the diverse language that we have this institutionalized. We have institutionalized Chawang food as kind of symbolizing unity. So, by observing and celebrating this Chawang food, in spite of all diverse languages, but we come and celebrate as brothers and sisters of one forefather, one king and king. So this is how it unites us. Chawangput, the celebration of Chawangput unite everyone. So this is one good thing that we have seen, that we have witnessed. And in the olden days, this celebration was actually initiated by the priests. But whereas we no longer have priests in that literal sense. Literally, we don't have priests, but that the function or the work of priest would be replaced by